guys, today I'm going to show you how I managed to install the front splitter on my Giulietta QV. The brand I chose for my front splitter is Maxton design. It's really not too hard to install, you can just do it at home with common hand tools. The only tricky bit is to align the front splitter properly on the bumper. To do this correctly, I recommend calling in help from another person. The front splitter itself came well packaged and looks very nice in gloss black. They say on the site that it will help with downforce, but I don't believe anything of it. The underside is just hollow, so it creates turbulent air instead of downforce. Maybe there's like 5% downforce on the top of the splitter, but it's not enough to notice any difference in handling of the car. But it looks great aesthetically. Well, have fun watching, guys. Today we're gonna install this splitter in front of my bumper of my Giulietta QV. So what I've already did is loosen these 4 bolts. They are on top of the bumper next to the radiator. Then what we have to do is loosen little bolts behind the wheel arches. They are just like cross bolts, so you can loosen them with the screwdriver. After that there are some bolts beneath the bumper, but we'll get to that later. Okay, so to easily loosen these bolts in the wheel well, you'll have to turn the wheel like 90 degrees so you can reach them easily. So that's what we're gonna do now. Get a size 2 Phillips screwdriver, and you have to reach for these 3 bolts. Here is one, then there's one in the middle up here, and then one over here. And do the same thing for the other side. So now we're gonna undo the bolts underneath the car. They are Torx bolts, I believe. There are, I think, 6 of them. One is located over here, just in the location of the tire. Then there's one over here, just underneath the fog light. Then there's one in the middle of the bumper, just under the scudetto. Same on the other side, one underneath the fog light and one close to the tire.
So next we have array of bolts. One over here to the inside of the wheel well. Then there is one just over here. And then it's like parallel with the car. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 bolts. And then on the other side there is one on the inner side of the wheel well as well. At last you have one Phillips screw over here, one in the middle, and one on the other side. And that should take the under tray off, the front part of the under tray, and our bumper. The last two are also inside the wheel well, but they are facing downwards. So you have this line from the bumper, and then just here there is one last bolt on each side. So I've just realized that there are Torx size 27 instead of size 25, so I stripped this one a little bit. So don't be stupid like me, guys, and just use Torx 27 from the beginning.
Yeah.
You just slide this piece backwards, and then it gets from underneath the car. So now the bumper is loose. You can gently pull the plastic tabs out. There are, I think, 3 of them along this line, and do the same for the other side, and then the bumper should be off. So just light pressure, put your hand, try to get your hand behind the bumper and just gently pull it. That's 1, 2. So they're also underneath the headlight. Like that. Then when you've worked your way around the headlamp, then you should start on the other side. If you have fog lights like mine does, you should remove these 2 plugs. Make sure to label them as well and install them back correctly later on. Okay, so we already tightened the splitter down a bit. Our progress for fitting this splitter was just to lay the splitter on the floor, put the bumper on top, see where you want splitter, just line it properly and make sure that you can secure it well. After that, you go to the inside of the bumper. There you can just drill temporary self-tapping screws. One over here, I did one in the middle over here, and then one on the corner over here. So that way the splitter won't move on the bumper upon installation. Next, to work easily, we put the bumper like this. So then you have a great view on the underside of the splitter where the inserts are for mounting the bolts to the car. Then what you do is Yeah, I just used the bolts, by the way, that were included in the shipping. I highly recommend to use these nuts.
Got him! Got him!
These nuts. With plastic on top of them, so it can't rattle loose. Yeah. Also use some washers. Yeah, just drill through your bumper. Don't be scared. But really, the fitting and the mocking up was the hardest part. I think we did like a half an hour of just trying to align it correctly, and yeah, it was a pain in the ass, but eventually I'm grateful that we did it, because now everything sits perfectly and it's gonna stay there for, well, forever. So yeah, you really have to take your time with that progress, even though it's a bit annoying. But yeah, okay, let's go. Okay, so we probably did some overkill on the bolts and the self-tapping screws, but I really wanted it to be well secured, because when you're doing like 200 plus kilometers per hour, you don't want this thing flying off. It could potentially damage your car or even other people. So yeah, it's really important to secure it well, so that it can withstand the forces of the wind and such while traveling at high speeds. Yeah, we did just 2 bolts here, then some self-tapping screws to make it extra secure. The middle part, I think, together with these front parts, take the most of the wind, of the headwind, so that's the main thing we focused on to bolt down. So we put some bolts here, like 4 centimeters apart, here, 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 and here. Then did the same thing on the other side. In between we also did some self-tapping screws, and in the end also some self-tapping screws, just to secure it a bit better. I wouldn't recommend to do the entire splitter with self-tapping screws, but to use bolts and locking nuts. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so it's day 2, and today we're gonna install the bumper back on the car with the splitter on. Yeah, what we already did was put the bumper actually on. What you have to watch out for is this little tab over here. It goes inside a cutout in the radiator. Then these 2 on the sides, they fit into the holes over here. And then the little plastic tabs around the headlight have to match as well. It just goes in, just parallel to the car. Just whack it in. Yeah. Molto bene. I hope this tutorial really helped you with the install of the splitter on this beautiful Alfa Giulietta QV. So for the next video, I already have an idea. I will be maybe installing the Reassembly H2 backline. That's just the back of the exhaust without muffler. So it's basically a rear muffler delete on the QV. If you would like to see that and hear the sound of that, then yeah, I could maybe make a video of that as well. Let me know in the comments. Okay, bye!